Despite a dark origin story that began with a Theodore Roosevelt hunting trip and a sexist controversy that followed, the cute and cuddly teddy bear is still the most popular plush toy in history. I'm Bob Summers, and this is a presidential story. In November 1902, Mississippi's Governor Andrew H. Longino invited well-known big-game hunter President Theodore Roosevelt on an excursion to hunt for black bears. Even though Roosevelt was known as an avid hunter, he was also as passionate about conservation. By creating the U.S. Forest Service, establishing 5 national parks, and conserving 230 million acres of land, Roosevelt helped a lot more bears and other animals than he hunted. After 2 or 3 days on the hunt, most of the companions on the trip had already caught their prey. Everyone except Roosevelt. For Governor Longino, who wanted to please Roosevelt, this was a political and publicity nightmare. Longino relied on his hunting guide, Holt Collier, and his team to get a win for Roosevelt. Collier was a former slave, Confederate veteran, Texas cowboy, Mississippi lawman, and renowned bear hunter. Roosevelt called Collier the greatest hunter and guide I have ever known. Collier and his team did locate an old 235-pound black bear. Collier's team captured the bear and tied it to a willow tree. The stories of how the bear was caught and how it was treated are cruel, so I'm not going to go into those details, other than to say the bear was not in good shape. Roosevelt was called over to the tree with the captured bear and told to shoot the bear so he could slay one and declare victory. Roosevelt, astonished and dismayed, refused, calling the act extremely unsportsmanlike. Roosevelt declared, "I've hunted game all over America, and I'm proud to be a hunter. But I couldn't be proud of myself if I shot an old, tired, worn-out bear that was tied to a tree." The next day, newspapers across the country told the tale of Roosevelt's compassion and sportsmanship. The headline of the November 15th, 1902 Washington Post read, "President called after the beast had been lassoed, but he refused to make an unsportsmanlike shot." When popular Washington Post political cartoonist Clifford Berryman read the story, he decided to create a cartoon using the president's refusal to shoot the bear as a metaphor for Roosevelt's indecision over a Mississippi boundary dispute with Louisiana. The cartoon, titled "Drawing the Line in Mississippi," was published in the Washington Post one day later, on November 16th, 1902, and soon went national. Over time, Berryman drew multiple versions of this popular cartoon, and in each version, the bear became younger and cuter until it was just a cub. The cartoon caught the attention of Morris Michtom, a candy shop owner in Brooklyn, New York. Michtom thought the cartoon bear looked cute and would make a good stuffed toy to honor President Roosevelt. Morris and his wife Rose had experience making stuffed animals. Rose cut out some pieces of fabric, sewed on some button eyes, stuffed it, and put it in the shop window. They called him Teddy's Bear. There were a lot of people that would stop by to inquire where they could buy their own Teddy's Bear. And as demand started to grow, Michtom wrote to President Roosevelt to see if he could officially use the name Teddy's Bear to honor the president. Personally, Roosevelt hated the nickname Teddy, once calling it an outrageous impertinence. Despite his doubt that it would lead to any success in the toy business and his dislike of the nickname, Roosevelt nonetheless agreed. After a full day running their candy shop, the Michtoms would work all night building their bears until they could no longer keep up with demand. In 1903, the Michtoms began factory production of Teddy's Bears. By 1906, the name had shifted from Teddy's Bears to Teddy Bears. Even with Roosevelt's initial dislike of the name Teddy and doubt about the stuffed toy's success, once it took off, Roosevelt made the teddy bear a mascot of his re-election campaign. He also proudly displayed one of Michtom's teddy bears at the White House. Michtom moved out of candy and into toys when he formally founded the Ideal Novelty and Toy Company, which decades later also sold other toys such as Betsy Wetsy and the Rubik's Cube. Unknown to Michtom as he was building his toy empire, a European company was also building stuffed bears, the Steiff Company. Founded in 1880 by seamstress Marguerite Steiff in Gingen, Germany, the Steiff Company started by making stuffed felt elephants to be used as pincushions, but soon kids fell in love with them, which led to a line of even more plush animals. It wasn't until shortly before Roosevelt's 1902 hunting trip that Steiff started to make bears. Richard Steiff, Marguerite's nephew, designed the bears based on real-life sketches he made at the zoo. Early teddy bears were designed to look like real bears with extended snouts and beady eyes. Modern teddy bears tend to have larger eyes and foreheads with smaller noses. The baby-like features are intended to enhance the toy's cuteness. The Steiff bears were jointed, covered in mohair, and included what is now the trademark Steiff button on the ear with an imprinted elephant, an homage to Marguerite's original elephant pincushions. The Bear 55 PB model, 55 for the standing height of 55 centimeters, P for plush, and B for movable, debuted at the Leipzig Toy Fair in March 1903. Based on the success of the teddy bear name in the U.S., Steiff officially changed the name of their bear to match in 1906. No matter who made the teddy bears, there were still those who fought against them as a threat to society. The fear was that if girls preferred the stuffed animals over human-like dolls, it would replace their desire to nurture babies and eventually lead to childless marriages. In 1907, Michigan Reverend Michael G. Esper warned his congregation the fad of supplanting the good old dolls of our childhood with the horrible monstrosities known as the teddy bear would lead to falling birth rates. Although the controversy spread across the country, most did not share Esper's views. There was a tolerant, permissive view of childhood emerging with a belief that children should remain childlike for a longer period of time. This coincided with the adoption of child labor laws. Without children at the factories, toys like the teddy bear fed a growing demand for children's goods. Those children's goods included books based on teddy bear-like characters like Winnie the Pooh and Paddington Bear. Teddy bears were so popular with children and adults that during both World Wars, soldiers were known to keep one with them during their tours of duty. In 1963, Morris and Rose Michtom's son, Benjamin, had become the president of the Ideal Toy Company. Benjamin wanted to celebrate the teddy bear's 60th birthday, so he reached out to Roosevelt's daughter, Alice Roosevelt Longworth. Benjamin offered Alice one of the original teddy bears if she would pose with it. She replied, "I don't want it." When asked why not, Alice replied, "What does a 79-year-old doll want with a 60-year-old bear?" Not to be dissuaded, Benjamin asked one of Roosevelt's grandsons, Kermit, if his children would pose with the bear, with the understanding that the bear would then go to the Smithsonian. Kermit agreed. After the photo shoot, Kermit's children, Mark and Ann Roosevelt, decided they couldn't part with the teddy bear and hid it from their parents. Eventually, after several months, this original 1903 teddy bear, still in perfect condition, was finally released to the Smithsonian, where it still resides today. Thanks for watching.